Welcome, everybody, to the Nerd Cave News, your one-stop shop for all the video game news that you need to know. And I am one of your hosts, Zach Dykes, joined along with the greatest criminal mastermind the world has ever known, that changed his name to match his thieving code, the notorious Bezow Doo-Doo Zippity Bop Bop Bop.
What? Your mic peaked, so I didn't get all about here. Bees up about wow or something.
I'll say it one more time. Bezow Doo-Doo Zippity Bop 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 Bop.
I'll just go with Bezow, and because that
It's in the chat.
that was great.
It's in the chat for you, so if you want to watch.
Okay.
Bezow Doo-Doo Zippity Bop 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 Bop.
Got you. Okay. I like that, actually. I even like the exposition leading up to it. So, yeah, that's definitely, I wouldn't say it takes the crown, but it's definitely top 5 for me.
You know who else are top 5, Derek?
I would have to assume you're talking about our great Patreons.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess that's your, okay. So, become part of the ship or part of the exclusive crew by patreon.com/nerdcave, just like our wonderful crew members, Brandon Hicks, Richard Newell, Daniel Sanford, Rushing Waters Yoga, The Conductor, Marilyn James, Martin Sager, and Brittany, the Granny Bee Harrison.
Guys, you can find the Nerd Cave News on a variety of platforms as well, such as Twitch, YouTube, and the TikTok. You can watch us live each and every week for our post show and our pre-show shenanigans, or you can go over to YouTube and watch the replay of the show. It's nice and tidy. Or if you want bite-sized nuggets of gaming news, you can check us out over on TikTok. Search Nerd Cave Network on any platform and you will find us.
You changed it up on me again because I was ready for that one, and then you threw me into the fire for the beginning.
I know, man.
You got to keep me honest.
You got to be ready, man. I know. That's life. It's life.
Yeah, you're right. 100%.
That's right. Bees out, doo-doo, zippity bop, bop, bop.
Dan says, sounds like you're trying to turn Beelzebub into a jazz musician.
Guys, you can be part of our game club just like I have been doing 100% for the last 2 months. We've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn. And you don't want to miss out on all the cool discussions we've been having or sharing your clips. You still got time to start the game and feel bad that you didn't finish it.
Asking for a friend?
You can start it and then never finish it. And, we won't judge you. But
Zach won't, at least.
I won't judge you at all. But yes, we're finishing up our Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition playthrough. And then next month, starting August, we will be announcing our new game. We'll be announcing it next week so everybody can be ready to start on August 1st and get going on that new game. So come be a part of that. It's going to be tons of fun.
Yeah. Always is.
Always is.
And Zach will never finish it either.
Brandon says he hasn't finished it either. So yeah.
But Brandon, how far are you? Let's get honest here. If you're farther than me, you'll beat it.
See, I'm so far that I've restarted the game.
It's like Deathloop. It's just starting that cycle over again, right?
Exactly. That's it, 100%.
Brandon's like, I'm a lot farther than Zach. I mean, that's not saying much.
Yeah, like that's nothing to write home about. I'm just saying.
You click start game and you're already farther than Zach.
Hey, no, that's not true. It's not true. I've already done like when you're a little girl and run around like the crypt and all of that. Like I'm a grown woman now.
Okay.
I'm a grown woman now. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about during our game discussion. There's been a lot going on since last week. So let's get into what will and forever will be the Derek Daniel report. I just stole that. Just letting y'all know. Stole that from Kind of Funny. So there you go.
Okay.
Someone
since we're imitating life right now. Life is imitating.
Number one on the Beezow bibbity bop bop bop. No, it's Beezow zippity bop bop bop. There we go. Report. Gamescom 2021 has been confirmed. Confirms its publisher lineup. There we go.
So yeah, so it's our organizers for Gamescom 2021, which is a digital-only event taking place towards the end of August, have confirmed that heavyweights including Activision, Bandai Namco Games, Electronic Arts, and Sega will be among the publishers participating in the event. The full lineup consists of 505 Games, Activision, Aerosoft, Assemble Entertainment, Astragon Entertainment, Bandai Namco, Bethesda, Electronic Arts, Game Evil, some Europe studio, not even going to try and pronounce that one, Head Up, Indie Arena Booth, Koch Media, Next Studios or Tencent Games, Sega Europe, Team 17, Thunderbolt Games, Ubisoft, Wargaming, and Xbox. Once again, Jeff Keighley will be kicking things off with Gamescom Opening Night Live, which takes place on August 25th, followed by the main event on August 26th and 27th. So, solid lineup. A lot of these guys I don't know of, obviously, especially if they're Europe-based ones, but, 505 Games, EA, Bandai Namco, Bethesda, Ubisoft, and Xbox are definitely, and Sega are huge ones. I know we just had E3 last month. Gamescom is next month. It's going to be exciting to see what all we see, what all gets announced,
Yep.
and there's probably going to be another packed week that week for us in news.
But that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
With all of it going on, Gamescom is usually the stuff that wouldn't get like the highlight at E3. So,
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see what the other companies are going to bring out and everything. Like, I know we got a lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
Jeff Keighley, like, he's everywhere. Like,
I know.
he's everywhere.
He is the rock star. Well, ever since he started hosting the Game Awards and getting serious in Summer Game Sense, like, he is a true, like, yes, he's a nerd, obviously, but he is a true appreciator of the games industry, and he wants to show that, look, yes, it's fun, but there's also a seriousness to it, and I want to bring a sense of seriousness to it, and show that, look, this is just as important as any other thing in our lives that's entertaining.
Yeah, and I like that because for a long time, like, I think about it was like the TNT Game Awards or whatever. Like, it wasn't like necessarily like serious and everything.
Yeah.
Even X-Play did, or G4 did some stuff as well back in the day. So it's, I'm glad to see like more things are getting the right treatment. And Jeff Keighley, he's doing the Lord's work.
He is for sure. So he's putting in the time, and he's reaping the rewards for sure.
Definitely. Moving on to our next topic of discussion, Nintendo says it has no plans to release another Switch model right now.
Asterisk yet. We all know it'll happen eventually, but Nintendo has formally denied a report saying that it would see increased profit margins with the new Switch OLED model, and also said that it has, quote, no plans to release another model at this time, as rumors of a Switch Pro continue to swirl. Last week, Bloomberg released a report saying that the OLED model costs Nintendo around $10 more to manufacture per unit than the original Switch. With a $50 price increase at retail, that would see a higher profit margin for the company. However, Nintendo's investor relations Twitter account today formally denied the report. It claimed that the profit margin of the Nintendo Switch OLED model would increase compared to the Nintendo Switch. To ensure correct understanding among our investors and customers, we want to make clear that the claim is incorrect. Before the announcement of the OLED model, multiple reports claimed that Nintendo was working on a more powerful model of Switch, capable of 4K TV output and with support for NVIDIA's DLSS rendering. The so-called Switch Pro was reportedly being slated for holiday 2021. Some have speculated that a new model could still be announced at a later date, another rumor that Nintendo chose to address today. quote, we also want to clarify that we just announced that Switch OLED will launch in October 2021 and have no plans for launching any other model at this time. It's extremely rare for Nintendo to comment on rumors about its products in this way. It's worth pointing out, however, that Nintendo's language is in the second tweet doesn't specifically rule out announcing a new model at a later date, and it's used similar language in the recent past. Which leads me to my point. It's like, yeah, when I said asterisk yet, it's like, look,
Yeah.
What happened at the beginning of the year? They were vehemently like, no, we're not announcing a new Switch model at all. Like they denied multiple reports, and yes, they were about the Switch Pro, and this is true. The Switch Pro is still not coming out this year. At the same time, they also said that we have no plans for new hardware, and look where we are several months later, a Switch OLED. So, for right or wrong, love it or hate it, we're getting a new Switch model with some upgrades. Nintendo just wants to keep. While yes, everyone gets excited about the future and wants more from Nintendo and wants to know everything that they've got in their back pocket, Nintendo, especially for the Switch, is trying to keep people focused on the now, like the near future. It's like, look, we're not worried about what we're doing 6 months from now. We're worried about what the next 3 months brings us, and here, focus on this.
Yeah, and I think that's good because they could easily get ahead of themselves like many have done in the past, especially in the gaming industry. Like it ran rampant for a few years, and I think a lot of people, and I know we've said it many times since Cyberpunk, no one wants to like make big grand statements like that they aren't sure about. And Nintendo, since the Wii U, has been very like cautious, for like a better word. But the OLED, it's an update to the Switch. Down a year, maybe 2, we might see a pro version. I'm not getting my hopes up for anything, but by that time, it will be close to a refresh time for the Switch. So why not make a more powerful version of it? And I know we can talk about specs and all of that later, but like a year, I think it would be time to like start, shaking the bushes and that sort of deal. But
getting out there, and you talked about the Wii U, and like after the Wii U, when Nintendo said they had a new console to announce, people were already calling for their head. Like before we even knew it was the Switch, people were calling for Nintendo's head. Like, look, if this one doesn't pan out, like people were already calling for their tombstone. Like, if this doesn't pan out, Nintendo should go third party and license their games out. It's like, holy cow, are we going that extreme already, guys? And look where we're at now.
Yeah. And Iwata did an amazing job. May he rest in peace. With heading the company and getting it out of the issue that they were in and everything. So I'm excited to see where they go with it. I know a lot of people, which brings us into our next subject, talking about the Steam Deck being the Switch killer and all of that. I saw something where it's like PlayStation tried to be the Nintendo killer for a very long time. I think Steam, Valve in general aren't trying to be the Switch killer. No. They're just trying to garner be
a competitor.
Some sort of foothold into the market. So
good luck, New Vita.
I don't like you sometimes. But we got some Steam Deck updates. The first being the Steam Deck's solid state drive is upgradable, but it won't be easy. And we have a list of games you can't play on the Steam Deck and why.
So in terms of it being the upgradable but not the easy upgrade way, last week Valve unveiled the Steam Deck, an impressive-looking handheld gaming PC that will launch later this year. Since then, one of the lingering questions is whether or not its internal SSD storage will be user upgradable. During IGN's exclusive hands-on with the Steam Deck, Valve hardware engineer Yazan Aldahayat confirmed that the SSD is not soldered to the motherboard, which means that it is technically user upgradable. Quote, we are using a standard M2 NVMe SSD in there. It's a separate module. We went against the trend of putting it directly on the motherboard. That said, this doesn't mean that upgrading the SSD will be easy. Quote, the repairability is something we did actually focus on and try to make it as repairable as possible, but it's really meant for people who know what they're doing and have experience doing it. These comments fall in line with new messaging that has appeared on the Steam Deck hardware specs page. Quote, all models use socketed 2230 M2 modules not intended for end user replacement. In other words, the SSD is upgradable, but it's not an easily accessible spot like the PS5's SSD expansion slot. This means folks who aren't afraid to take their unit apart and likely void the warranty along the way will be able to upgrade that SSD to a compatible 2230 M2 module, but it's not something that Valve expects or recommends most users to do. So what do you have on that one first before I get into the list of ones that can't play?
For me, I think it's a good thing that yes, you can upgrade it if you do want to do so. Murdoch says, I'm gonna get one of these now because it has the M.2 NVMe SSD in it and everything. I'm glad that that's a possibility that you can upgrade it if you do want to do so. It definitely makes it more appealing for people that understand how to do what is needed to do, and it's repairable. And that's a huge thing, is having things that are repairable, and then it's not just like, okay, well, it's done, so you got to buy a new one. Is, you have the right to repair and everything is a huge thing going on right now. With this, it's also, I was reading through IGN's content and everything on this, that you can literally wipe the OS on it, the Steam OS on it, and install whatever you want on there. So you could put on Windows, you could put Linux, whatever you want on there to run on the Steam
they're
Deck.
making it mod friendly.
Exactly. And I think that's a good thing. With the Steam OS, you still can put in like the BattleNet on there, so you can play Blizzard's games on there and everything. So you can, take Warzone with you, or take Overwatch or WoW or whatever. So I think, this is just a real big step, because like you don't see that with a Switch. You didn't see that with the Vita, the Razer versions of this that we've seen in the past and everything. So it is a big step in the right direction for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, it's great, and I like how they give that, because there are some dumb things in with hardware that void the warranty. Like I remember when PS4 first came out, it's like if you attached one of those little back fans to help with the cooling, it's like, oh, that voids the warranty.
Yeah.
Why and how, Sway? But I'm glad they're telling you up front. It's like, look, this is we totally intended for you to do this if you know what you're doing, but just be aware, if it screws up. If it screws up your handheld, we ain't replacing it. That's on you, bud.
Yeah.
So
tread with care.
But exactly. But moving on to the list of games. Now, there's going to be a theme, and I'll get to the why after I read off the list of games. So the games you cannot play on Steam Deck are Apex Legends, Black Desert Online, DayZ, Dead by Daylight, Destiny 2, Fall Guys, Hunt Showdown, Paladins, PUBG, Rainbow Six Siege, and Smite. So why can't you play these games? According to ProtonDB via PC Gamer, some games aren't compatible with the Steam Deck because of how they are developed for consoles and how the deck is Linux-based. Valve did make it to where Windows-based games can run on the deck, though not everything could be made to work properly. You'll also note that the games listed share one thing in common: online multiplayer experiences. With certain multiplayer games and the anti-cheat software they employ, the choice of going the Linux route is a double-edged sword. That's where the cut games list comes in. With the above multiplayer games just not doable, that doesn't mean that the library is small. Indie games, PC-only titles, and the majority of your Valve library can be played in the palm of your hand. It's also important to remember that even though these games can't run on the Steam Deck, that doesn't mean they necessarily will be off the table forever. Who knows? Maybe Valve will look into a Windows option in the future. So, that's... when I read this, I'm like, these are all multiplayer games. And I'm like, it must have something to do with the server network. But it's weird. And granted, yes, the Steam Deck is running different hardware than the Switch is.
Yeah.
But it's weird that in the same breath that you say you can't play Apex Legends on Steam Deck, you could play it on Switch. You know?
Yeah, and I think it's like Murdoch is saying no anti-cheat games because anti-cheat isn't written for Linux. So that might be
Okay.
the issue right there. You know, and it being a Linux-based kind of system and everything, I'm wondering if you scrap Linux and you install Windows, would you be able to play it? Murdoch and Dan might be able to shed some light on that. I'm not as techie on that end of things, but you know, yes, it is limiting on some of the games, but you know, you can always play Warzone. It doesn't have an anti-cheat.
Yeah.
No one hacks on that game at all. But you know,
right.
I don't think this is going to, yes, if you do that, then no issue. Okay, so you can go get around it by, you know, just installing Windows on it instead, and then not have an issue at all. You know, if that's something where you want to go. Only limitation is drivers then. So, you know, it's supposed to be like a portable computer, so I think you'll be able to get whatever you need in the sense of drivers, but, you know, tread lightly. Okay. Tread lightly.
Yeah. You have been warned.
Moving on to some Ubisoft news. Ubisoft quarter one earnings call news. 80% of Ubisoft's current investments are targeting premium games.
Yeah. So let me get down here. All right. So Ubisoft has revealed that it is putting roughly 80% of its investments into premium titles, with the remaining 20% targeting free-to-play endeavors. Speaking during the company's first quarter earnings call overnight, Yves Guillemot, CEO of Ubisoft, commented, quote, "Our new investment phase, initiated 2 years ago, is the natural evolution of our commitment to build quality and depth in our portfolio to the benefits of our players. This will ultimately lead to bigger audiences and more recurring revenues. First, around 80% of our current investments are targeted at significantly expanding our premium offering by growing our biggest existing franchises, by building new IPs with a focus on player engagement and social interaction, and by adding blockbuster licensed entertainment brands to our portfolio. Second, around 20% of our current investments are targeted at free-to-play to expand our brand's universe and bring them to a wider audience across all platforms, including mobile, across all geographics, including emerging markets, and with multiplayer titles designed to be evergreen." So it seems like they are going for, you know, like, we know that when they announced Division Heartlands a couple months ago, that their new focus was going to be free to play.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad they're not going just completely free to play, because I know you and I had concerns. It's like, oh, are they just going to do Fortnite? Are they going to do the Apex thing and just go be loot based?
Yeah.
You know, microtransaction heavy games. So that's only 20%. The other percent are premium experiences. So that means, like, yes, there will probably still be some of that stuff in there, but we're still going to make our great quality games that we're known for, like with Assassin's Creed, with Division, with, you know, you name it.
Splinter Cell?
Maybe.
You said,
I don't know if they're gonna throw you that bone just yet.
You said you name it. I named it.
Well, that's also true. I'm not Ubisoft though. I'm not Yves Guillemot.
Well, I think he's got other issues going on. Bigger than
not as bad as Activision though.
Yeah. Moving to our next bit of Ubisoft news, Ubisoft will put its games on Steam Deck if it's big enough, which we kind of touched this last week. They're known for shoving their games onto any console, you know.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't work, even if it's not supposed to, they're just going to force themselves onto the console.
Even if it doesn't make sense, just like when VR became a thing, who was first to put their games on there? Ubisoft. Stadia. Who said that they're putting their library on there? Ubisoft.
Yep.
So it's only a matter of time, but I do think, let me get into the article here. After a pointed departure from Steam releases in recent years, Ubisoft might be reconsidering the platform thanks to Valve's recent new handheld announcement, the Steam Deck. In its Q1 earnings call today, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot responded to an investor question about his thoughts on the Steam Deck by suggesting it might spark spark future Ubisoft game releases on the platform. Quote, "We're happy to see Steam Deck coming to the industry. It shows that it continues to a flow of very innovative new hardware coming to the market. So we will look and see how big it becomes. But if it's big, we will be able to put our games on it. But if it's big, we will be able to put our games on it." So I think, to me, like, yes, obviously you can put an asterisk by this and say yet. But what this says to me is Ubisoft is trying to make smart investments now. Like they did Stadia, and Stadia didn't really pan out for a lot of people. You know, obviously it's still doing its thing, and it's going to still support third party. But I don't think Ubisoft saw a great ROI.
Yeah.
I think with VR, they saw a decent return on investment. With Stadia, they probably didn't. So they're like, instead of jumping into new tech, let's see if the market will be big enough to warrant us spending the time and the man hours and the money into making it for this new piece of hardware. Because if it bombs and we waste all this money, we're not going to make that back.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I don't think they jumped on Luna, which is Amazon's
I don't think so.
thing as well. So I think they're, like I said, making smarter investments. And, you know, the Steam Deck, it's not tested. We don't really know what it's going to be like. You know, is the market going to be there? Are the parts going to be there? Is the chips going to be there, you know, to be able to make it? Because that's what we're running into issues with all the consoles right now, and the graphics cards that, you know, we're running in our computers and everything. So I think, you know, them waiting to see if it's big enough, you know, it being a computer-based thing, I think it will be easier to port than it being a totally new piece of tech. You know, it, like Stadia operates so different than, you know, like an Xbox or whatever. So this would be a little bit easier of a transition than what has been, you know, going to VR or going to Stadia. So I think it's important. And real quick, to jump back into the chat, Dan was talking about, you know, he's not sure if you would want to run it as a pocket PC, talking about putting Windows right on the Steam Deck, depending on the size of the screen. If it's too small, the resolution would make it inconvenient to use if you were to load up Windows on it. Yeah. And B chimed in, people are optimistic about this when Valve's track record is so bad when it comes to technology. Yep.
About say, look at the what was the one?
Steam computers.
Yeah, well, and then like the Steam machines, and then didn't they do a piece of VR tech too?
Oh, the Oculus is theirs. No.
Okay, well, yeah, Oculus is great.
Oculus is not theirs. That's Facebook's. What did they do?
Okay,
the Verve or they did some
the Vive. No, that's HTC Vive. No, HTC Vive.
I know they did one. Okay, let's look.
Yeah, they did one. Yeah,
Steam's.
Because I think because I think if it's not Quest or the Oculus, but yeah, it's goes to show you how great it did, because we don't even know what it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah,
maybe they didn't do one.
Maybe they didn't. I'm not 100% sure. But let's move on to some not expected news, but you know, we talk about it. Delays are not a bad thing. Ubisoft has delayed Rainbow Six Extraction and Riders Republic once again.
Yeah, it's Riders Republic isn't bad. They just delayed it to October 28th, and the reason is they need more time to fine-tune the experience and give you another chance to jump in before launch and provide feedback. I know they have an open beta coming up pretty soon, but Siege. So it was supposed to be September 2nd for Riders Republic, and they delayed it till about almost 2 months. So it's not that bad. But Siege, Extraction is big because they're delaying it till January of 2022. And they say they need it because they need to take additional time to bring this vision to life. That concerns me, because why does Riders Republic need only about a 2-month delay when it's got massive servers? Like, it's a glorified MMO when there's going to be at least 60 people on a server at one time at most, or roughly around that time. Whereas Siege Extraction is going to be a PvE 3 people in a squad at one time, maybe 6 people together. I don't know if there's going to be PvP, but there's definitely PvE. So at 3 to 6 people at one time, but you need another 6 months essentially, like from the time they delayed this, 6 months to work on it. It's like, how far back is this game? Like, are you not ready? Is this another Halo Infinite issue where you thought it was going to be ready by September and it's not going to?
Yeah, and B says it perfect here. At this point, if you're expecting a game to launch on time, don't.
Right.
You know,
especially with Ubisoft.
Yeah, WB as well. Like, I think a lot of companies overestimating like the ability to get back into the norm, like what was pre-COVID and everything. You know, oh well, we can get back in the office so we can, you know, start working the way we had been working. And I don't think that's necessarily like something that is going to happen as quickly as, you know, game leads or the publishers or higher up the ladder is wanting. You know, it's taking more time than, you know, we're really wanting to give. You know what I mean? People want things to be now. People want things to be back to normal as quick as possible. Everybody wants that, but you know, I think a lot of people are making that transition a lot slower than others, and the gaming industry, it took a while to move everybody out and get everything set up, and now it's taking a lot more time to get everybody back in. Systems are changing, so it's definitely a hard thing. But you know, Riders Republic, which I know I said it about Knockout City, but I'm not going to play this game.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Extraction, they showed it at the Ubisoft Forward back at E3, and it was a cinematic trailer, and it looked great. But you know, you can make a cinematic trailer look great. We've seen that a bunch of times. I don't know. I don't know how far this is out. I know Murdoch was really excited about it, but you know,
I know, like we watched that trailer and it was exciting, you know, and I know they showed a cinematic. I know we didn't have time to show it when we covered our E3 stuff, but they did have like a 9-minute gameplay demo, and for the most part, from what I watched, it looked fine. So I don't know how. Maybe something got messed up, or maybe on an investor's call someone didn't like what they saw, or maybe someone didn't think it was going to make enough money. So it's like, we need you to add in this feature, well, we're going to need a few more months. All right, we'll be fine with that.
Yeah, and it, like you said, it could be features. There could be a debilitating bug that was found during you know, some more testing and everything. So I think I'd rather them delay it, fix it, and make it good. Because like it coming after Siege, which has exploded, I think it has to live up to expectations, or people will say it's not as good as Siege. Like just like everything after Vegas 1 and 2, nothing was good enough until Siege. Yeah,
exactly. Which, just a little side note, obviously stuff could still get delayed, but January of next year is going to be crazy because we've got Extraction, Elden Ring, and Pokemon Legends Arceus. All in January.
Yeah, I think some of those will move.
Yeah, I think Elden Ring's staying put, but I could see Pokemon and maybe Extraction getting delayed.
Like, I know a lot of people are hyped on Elden Ring and everything. Those games are just not for everybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think it will.
But From Software has earned that title. You know, especially with Dark Souls, and then Sekiro winning Game of the Year.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you know, I don't think, you know, if Pokemon went up against Elden Ring, I think it would do well though. Extraction, I don't know if it would do as well. You know, maybe a March game, like things kind of slow down in March. Well, it used to. Now it doesn't as much. Murdoch says, I'm ready for it, and 2042, we'll see who wins. Well, them not going out at the same time, you get to play 2042 without any issues, and then when Extraction comes out, you get to play it. There you go.
Exactly.
Moving on, though, Ubisoft's Tom Clancy mashup game Elite Squad is shutting down. Pretty sure it has Splinter Cell in there, so, you know, who knows? Probably why it's shutting down.
Ubisoft has announced that its Tom Clancy mashup mobile game Elite Squad is to be shut down this October. Revealed on the Elite Squad website in a blog post entitled The Story Ends, Ubisoft said it is with a great deal of sadness that we are announcing we will no longer be releasing new content for Elite Squad. A new update released today will be the final content drop for Elite Squad. On October 4th, the servers will shut down for good, bringing the game's life to an end. Quote, this was not an easy decision, but after exploring multiple options with our teams, we came to the conclusion that it was no longer sustainable. And it came out, Elite Squad released in August of 2020. So not even by the time it shuts down, it'll have been over a year, but the game's not even a year old technically, and it's already being shut down, which goes to show you, like, yeah, I know you can poo-poo it and say it's a mobile game, but it goes to show you, even though it's a mobile game, wasn't successful.
Yeah, and I think that's people understanding is like there are so many mobile games out there that not everything is going to be successful just because you put, Splinter Cell in it. The only time you get to see Sam Fisher in anything is, anyway, I can keep going, but, it doesn't make it successful. So it only lasting like just a little over a year, kind of sad. So hopefully they'll move those people into something that will be more
profitable.
Yeah, profitable and everything.
Or worth their time and investment.
Yep. Moving on to some Assassin's Creed news. Assassin's Creed Infinity DLC expansions for DLC expansions for Assassin's Creed Valhalla in 2022 will surprise players, according to Ubisoft. Hopefully, they're good surprises.
Yeah, good surprises, because, they said at the UB4 that, they're taking this year off again for Assassin's Creed and just focus on doing extra content, which is the first time they've done this, because, for Odyssey, all their DLC was episodic, which dragged it out until, for the year following Odyssey's release. And then the next year, they released Valhalla. But Assassin's Creed Valhalla is easily the most successful title within the series' long history, and Ubisoft plans to keep that momentum going by continuing to support it for a second year. Something it has never done before, and according to the publisher, fans will be, quote, surprised to see what's in store. The news comes from Ubisoft's Q1 earnings call from earlier today, where the chief financial officer, Frédéric Duguay, says that the coming content for the game will be surprising, a point he made on multiple occasions according to website VGC. Assassin's Creed Valhalla already has 3 expansions we know about, 2 currently available and 1 still yet to come. Though it will be interesting to really see just how surprising the new content set for next year will be. Whatever the new content is, the reaction from players will be the determining factor as to whether or not it is actually a surprise or not, though we'll just have to wait and see. So hopefully it's some good. Like, I know they've been doing well. Like, they have Wrath of the Druids. I know, what was the next expansion? Because I know the Siege of Paris is coming up. I think it's the last DLC for Valhalla this year. So
yeah, I think the Paris one is. So I'm curious to see where it goes from there. Like, are they going to, do the episodic thing to fill in the next year until Infinity, which we'll get into in just a second, or will they do kind of self-contained stories? This is a game that I want to play. Will I finish it? Who knows? But them adding more and more to it, like since Origins, like since they've kind of restarted, if you will, the franchise after taking a break, they've done really well at like continuing to put out content with it. I know Odyssey was the one that they really pumped a ton into it. But I'm glad to see that they're not just like, okay, 1 year and then it's done. Next year, the next, like they're giving more legs to it. And I'm glad that Valhalla is getting that same treatment.
Before we get into, because I know when we first reported on Infinity, it said that the earliest we could expect it is 2024. Even if it is 2024, do you think they will, like, yes, they're going to put out DLC for Valhalla for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they will squeeze out one more regular Assassin's Creed title before Infinity, or do you think they're going to just pretty much be all hands on deck for Infinity and just because I don't know, like, do they give another year of content to Valhalla, or do they just go an entire year without anything Assassin's Creed related in 2023?
I think if I was leading this, I would take 2023 completely off to get people hungry for more Assassin's Creed. That way, when Infinity comes out, people are exciting to jump into that game instead of like, I just finished all the DLC for this. I'm tired of it. You know, like you give that time, because when they took, was it a year or 2 years for Origins?
It was technically a year because Syndicate was 2015, nothing in 2016. They came back in 17 with Origins.
Okay, so a year, like I was ready. Like when I played Syndicate, I was like, I'm done with Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to play another one. But when Origins came out, I was like, okay, I'm actually curious what this is going to be like. And I played it and I was back in. I was like, okay, here we go. Let's do it again. You know, so I think having that year off will do wonders for Infinity. And I think it's the smart thing to do. Fill 2022 with content for Valhalla, and then make us wait. Make us wait.
I'm inclined. I mean, I can see this one of two ways, and the first is, I think, the one that I agree with you. I think they should do / I think they're going to do, which is just take 2023 off, do nothing Assassin's Creed, but probably do a slow burn on Infinity, because when they first announced it, I mean, like with anything else on the internet, it's met with, mixed reviews, but a lot of people are mixed on this. Like, I'm indifferent. Like, as long as they still make it Assassin's Creed at its core, there's just like an ever evolving game, I'm fine with it. But now if they completely change the formula and make it something that's Assassin's Creed has never been, or just completely make it not Assassin's Creed, then I won't be on that bandwagon. But I think if they want to get people behind this, they should slow burn it. Like, maybe not right at the beginning of 2023, but like around E3 time, slowly build people in and get them to get used to the idea of this Assassin's Creed vision that you have, like where it's an ever evolving title that will just keep adding content instead of just being like a yearly or, every so often release. The other thing I could see them do is, remember a little trilogy of games called the Assassin's Creed Chronicles?
Yep.
That it was on, they did it. It was like those 2.5D, like smaller bite-sized titles. I could see them, like, they basically said, after Valhalla, Infinity's our next baby. I could see them being like, in 2023, well, we don't want to do a full-fledged Assassin's Creed title with Infinity possibly the year after that. Maybe we give you a smaller bite-sized chunks of it just to get you ready, just to satiate your appetite for Assassin's Creed, but not give you a 300-hour experience.
Yeah, I could see that. Or, porting other, Assassin's Creed games that we've had in the past to, this generation and everything. Assassin's Creed Liberation would be awesome.
That too,
because I really enjoyed that game, and I know it's on Steam, but I played it on Vita because the Vita lives. But I think like we've got the Ezio trilogy. We've got different ones, but you could bring back some of them, or Rogue, which I never played. You could bring back some that might not have been played by others because they were playing like Black Flag instead of Rogue, and some might not have had a Vita to play Liberation, or like there was a Black Flag DLC that I never played. Like you could kind of like, it'd be kind of like a catch-all, of best of not played Assassin's Creed. But I think that would be a good way to just kind of tell some stories that some people have really enjoyed, because Liberation was the first time we got a female assassin, and it was interesting. It was kind of clunky in ways where like you can only kill people when you were dressed like an assassin, like, and then other times you were like in very prim and proper dress and everything, walking through the New Orleans. So those are the options. Like I think they could make, like you said, that 2.5 kind of, side scroller kind of deal, or just take the year off, or do like a catch-all.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. But moving into the Unity news that we've been dancing around, Assassin's Creed Infinity. Did I say Unity? I did say Unity. Anyway, Assassin's Creed Infinity will hold true to the Assassin's Creed rich legacy narrative experiences, according to Ubisoft.
Yeah, the news of Assassin's Creed Infinity wasn't met with overall positivity from every fan. Many were, in fact, concerned that Assassin's Creed Infinity would look nothing like what we've come to know the franchise for, though that could potentially not be the case, since according to Ubisoft's CFO, Infinity will remain true to the narrative legacy the series has built. The quote came from Ubisoft's Q1 earnings call, where VGC reports that the CFO said, quote, regarding the project codename Infinity, we have exciting plans for the future that have the potential to significantly expand both the brand's reach and the recurring profile while holding true to Assassin's Creed's legacy of rich narrative experiences. It is in the early stages of development, and we will share more details in due time. Whether or not this will properly be executed, it is still the question. So until we start to see Assassin's Creed Infinity running, it's practically anyone's guess as to how much or little they will change the Assassin's Creed experience players have come to know and love. Which kind of goes into what I said, what I touched on a moment ago. It's like, look, people are it's a lukewarm reception to this idea. So I'm with you. Take the year off and slow burn it, like around June, July, in time for when all this news is like dropping. It's like, look, here's Infinity. We talked about it a couple years ago. We've been promising you updates. We know you may not be on for this idea, but here's the vision we're putting in place, and just like show a CG trailer with some gameplay or what have you. So I think they really need to focus, like them committing to the rich experiences narrative-wise that they've created through games, especially the last couple of iterations, is a good sign in the right direction. And that they're going to not just make this like Assassin's Creed MMO, where it's just like, create your own assassin, go do these random quests, but they won't be the same Assassin's Creed you've come to know and love. It's like, no, we're still going to give you impactful stories. We're still going to give you characters you know about and locations that are going to wow you and be detailed as all get out. So we're just doing it in a different fashion. We're doing something. We're keeping the franchise going.
Yeah, and like before you started saying not like an MMO, you create your own assassin, all that. I was like, it'd be interesting to see like a multiplayer side of it, not to take the main facet of the game, but to have, like, I know they've tried multiplayer side of thing, but Division-esque kind of like Assassin's Creed, not, like I said, not the main game, not the main thing, but like having some multiplayer aspects of it where you can, me and you go and we murk people or whatever, and it affects the world.
Unity touched on, Unity touched on that.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm like, it would be interesting to see them doing it, since they've already had 2 divisions after that, what they could do. But like, I don't want them to go away from what we've been experiencing from Origins to now, because it's been a much better game. Syndicate was definitely weak. Unity was all right.
Yeah.
But that being said, I'm not sure how they're going to make money off of it, unless it's like battle passes, which would make no sense for this, or season passes. That would be the only thing that I can see.
They'll do games as a service. Like, they're gonna make it an MMO without being an MMO, if that makes sense. Like, they're gonna have MMO tendencies, like, oh, here's the base game with all these locales, and then as we add some over time, we're gonna charge you like expansion prices of like $30 or $40 that will unlock this region and give you a bunch more new content to explore.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a single player Destiny.
Exactly.
Essentially, so.
Except have more story and won't be locked behind lore cards that you have to look on the website.
Yeah. Brandon says the best multiplayer was in Unity. Definitely the better of all of the Assassin's Creed ones. There was, I think it was in Brotherhood. It was one of the Ezio ones that had like some multiplayer.
They had the assassin system. Well, they started the multiplayer in Brotherhood, but it was like it wasn't in the story though. It was just like straight multiplayer.
Yeah, and it was bad. Brandon said you could do story with friends. I enjoyed all of them. I remember doing one. I don't remember if I played it with you or with Robbie, but it was pretty. I think I did it with you.
Which one, Unity?
Yeah, like we did like one mission.
I think so.
And it was
I think so.
It was like early on, so the servers were pretty bad. But
yeah, exactly.
You know, I don't remember much of it, but it looked pretty.
Yeah.
When everybody's face is loaded in. Moving on, Ubisoft's new Tom Clancy game is called Tom Clancy X Defiant. Defiant. Yeah, that's what it is. Defiant.
Yeah, Defiant. Yeah.
And
you're good.
Is expected to include crossplay at launch. Will it include Sam Fisher? I don't know, but we're going to watch the trailer of X Defiant here. Let's get this all up and ready. Kevin, you got that? You got it, Kevin? Kevin, do you have it ready?
Need you to respond, Kevin.
Okay, let's. Hold on just a second. I gotta make it fit.
And as you can see, I don't know if he has it on the screen just yet, but obviously, may contain content inappropriate for children. So hide your kids, hide your wife.
Yep. Here we go. I don't like the colors already.
Yeah.
Makes me think of like Watch Dogs.
Excited to share a
Ooh.
project we're developing at Ubisoft.
I'm assuming this is alpha footage.
Our take on a
Yeah.
multiplayer first-person shooter.
We need to get you in early and find out what you think.
Our goal is to make a best-in-class shooter for you, the players, to compete.
And have fun with your friends.
It's fast-paced firefights.
Meets punk rock mosh pit.
We're proud to introduce our new game.
That's a weird
Tom Clancy's X.
combo to
Your feedback is essential to help us make this game great.
Later in this video, we'll tell you how to get involved.
But first, we'll get into the action.
This is a free-to-play, high-octane shooter combining realistic gunplay with personalized classes.
Those classes are represented in our game as factions, each bringing unique gameplay and team dynamics. Every faction
Wolves from Breakpoint,
traits, abilities, and
Cleaners from Division,
implement your playstyle and the faction's role.
Echelon from
Skillfully, each faction is
Splinter Cell,
sweet.
and Outcast from Division 2.
Our factions are at the heart of the game. They're inspired by maverick groups from across Tom Clancy's games and beyond. From this inspiration, we created new characters and gameplay unique to our shooter. And we'll continue to add to this diverse cast as the game evolves.
Now, while factions help you define your role,
Apex, says Murdoch.
Right.
Yeah.
has to be our top priority. We have an ever-growing arsenal of authentic weapons and attachments. We put a lot of care into how our weapons look and feel. We've crafted every weapon attachment for precise, satisfying gunplay.
Players can mix and match any faction and weapon loadout. You can swap at respawn to adapt to a changing battle.
Okay, so you're not locked in to play like one faction per
Which is
team.
nice, at least.
Stress this hard enough. We are a shooter first.
And your abilities and ultras create unique opportunities to set up nail-biting shootouts and unforgettable clutch plays.
Personalizing classes, guns, and gear in a fast-paced fight is a whole new experience in Tom Clancy gaming.
We are super stoked by what we've accomplished so far.
And I couldn't be more proud of our incredible team. We want to personally thank everyone that's worked so hard during the pandemic to keep the momentum going on this game.
We understand that it's been even harder for some of you. We hope that we can build a community that's a place where people can connect and have fun.
And we're committed to creating a welcoming game based on fair play and transparency, whether you're playing casually or pushing yourself competitively.
Now, the game's still in early development, but we're gearing up to let you in as soon as possible. So register right now to to participate in our early rollout phases.
Thank you so much for watching. We really want your input, so please reach out to us on social media.
All right. Well, okay.
Yeah. It seemed like more of like this seemed like more like help us finish the game type of thing. But he's talking about like there's going to be rollouts for and everything. According to what I see here, most when you go to the website playxdefiant.com to sign up for an upcoming playtest on August 5th. So that's the earliest rollout. I'm sure they're going to have more. It doesn't say when the game is coming out. It's being developed by Ubisoft San Francisco. So it sounds like it's going to be one of those either fall releases like in November, or it's going to be like an early next year release.
Yeah. I don't know. It didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
It felt like
I'm just like another shooter.
Yeah, it's like another shooter. Like, I'm just looking at Murdoch's comments in the here. Pass. You already lost me. Nope, not gonna happen. Give me Sam Fisher back. Start over. Oh, and you added gun customization in. Never been done. Yeah, like, and the name's bad as well. Like, X Defiant. Like, gameplay, it looks early on. Like, it doesn't look like it looks like alpha footage.
Yeah.
Really, like the guns, like the textures look bad. The gunplay, like we didn't really get to see a ton of it, but it looked kind of floaty to me, like not a lot of weight. Like if you're looking for people that do gunplay really well, there's two: Call of Duty and Bungie. Those are the two that do gunplay the best, in my opinion. Always feels right. So I'm not. I'm definitely not playing it. So
yeah, no, I may try it out because I think it's free to play anyway. So I'll give it a shot, but I don't know if that'll be something I play long term.
Dan says, is it trying to be a first FPS version of Smash Bros? I don't know.
I don't know about that, but it's definitely trying to do something.
Yeah, and it's like it feels like Rage, and it feels like Watch Dogs, like trying to put in like the neon colors and all of this kind of stuff, and it's like you don't have to shove vibrant colors at us if your game is good.
Yeah,
just saying. Like when I start seeing vibrant colors, I'm like, is this a design choice, or is this trying
what you thought
trying to make up for something that you're lacking in your game? Because that's what I've seen in a lot of games recently. Neons, that's all we get these days. Moving on, and
speaking of games and alpha footage,
Murdoch, here you go, buddy. Skull and Bones has finally passed alpha, was planned as Assassin's Creed 4 multiplayer expansion, which I kind of figured.
Yeah, because I think they said when they first unveiled this several years ago that it was the team who did the ship play for Assassin's Creed Black Flag anyway. Ubisoft's long-delayed pirate romp Skull and Bones has finally passed the alpha stage after 8 years of development, the company has revealed to Kotaku. Interestingly, sources speaking to the site have revealed that Skull and Bones originally started as a multiplayer expansion for Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which makes a lot of sense considering the standard online portion of that game did not feature ship combat. However, the project later evolved into a separate game in its own right, and suffered numerous delays over the years. Reportedly, Skull and Bones has cost Ubisoft over $120 million already, with the number increasing as the company brings over teams from its wealth of studios to help prevent any further delays. Ubisoft provided Kotaku with the following statement confirming Skull and Bones has just passed alpha, with more info coming, quote, when the time is right. Quote, the Skull and Bones team are proud of the work they've accomplished on the project since their last update, with production just passing alpha, and are excited to share more details when the time is right. That being said, any unfounded speculation about the game or decisions being made only works to demoralize the team, who are working very hard to develop an ambitious new franchise that lives up to the expectations of our players. I didn't read when I saw that 120 million. I'm like, oh boy, this is like a Dreams all over again, except way more expensive,
dude. The last comment where it's like anything. What was the, like something to demoralize it? Read that comment real quick for me.
Where to go? Yeah, that being said, any unfounded speculation about the game or decisions being made only works to demoralize the team, who are working very hard to develop an ambitious new franchise that lives up to the expectations of our players.
It's like, hey, don't talk about our game.
Right.
Because we can't live up to it.
No news is good news, right?
Yeah, we can't live up to whatever you say. Like that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, 8 years, Murdoch. 8 years. Like that's crazy to me. Like I know we've gotten games that have been much longer than that. Final Fantasy 15 was
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Kingdom Hearts 3. Wow, that's from the same anyway. Yeah. What was that dog game that PlayStation made? The big flying dog.
Oh, Last Guardian.
Like we've gotten a lot of these games recently and none of them live up to hype. Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 15 did live up to hype. I want Skull and Bones to be great. I want it to be interesting because the combat that was in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I loved. Yeah. Like anytime we get to do like boat battles in Assassin's Creed, I'm like, yes, please give me more. So I'm curious to see how this actually is going to handle. When we'll ever see it, I don't know. If it's taken 8 years to get out of alpha, probably another 4 years.
At least.
I'm just being honest here. At least another 4 years. Murdoch says the Kotaku article is pretty accurate, but it's also pretty much old news and also full of a lot of he said, she said. This is looking at a situation from perspectives of 20 people out of a dozen. The Discord franchise server has been dead on news since 5/11/21.
Wow.
So, like, I don't know where this is going to go. If it will go anywhere. Yeah. Ubisoft sinking 120 million into a game, they're going to want a return on it.
Yes.
But at the same time, if a game is not going to get a return and you're just sinking money, it's a money pit. Cut your losses. I'm thinking about a Peter Molyneux situation here. You just cut your losses and everything. Yep. So, yeah, at that price tag, like something's got to happen. But Anyway, our last bit of Ubisoft news before we get into the.
Speaking of things that will be a long way off,
Beyond Good and Evil 2 still exist, but according to Ubisoft, it's still too early to talk about. I remember. Derek, correct me if I'm wrong here.
Okay.
There was an EA where it's like, okay, we're going to bring people out here and we're going to talk about Beyond Good and Evil 2, and we're going to show a trailer. We're going to show a trailer. Yeah. Am I imagining things?
No, that we have seen at least a few trailers on it, and apparently a lot of concept art. But it's like, let me just get into this article here. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is the long-anticipated sequel to Ubisoft's 2003 original Beyond Good and Evil, and after hearing nothing for a very long time, we finally got some some kind of confirmation that this game is still in the works, though Ubisoft reaffirms that they're still not ready to talk about it yet. The news comes from website IGN reporting on Ubisoft's Q1 earnings, which includes a brief mention of the game as part of their future development plans. And were it not for a representative asking about it directly, it sounds as though Ubisoft wouldn't have commented on it at all. Ubisoft CEO said in response to a question about when we could potentially see Beyond Good and Evil 2, quote, "We've progressed well with Beyond Good and Evil 2, but it's too early to tell you at this stage. So as the case has been since 2003, it seems we'll just have to keep waiting for Beyond Good and Evil 2. My first question when I read this is, man, if Skull and Bones is just getting out of alpha after about 8 years, where is Beyond Good and Evil 2? Like, do they have, 2 people working on everything? Is that why it's taking so long? I know Michel Ancel has been working on stuff. I know Wild never came out. Don't know if that game still exists. It was supposed to be a PS4 exclusive. That's definitely not happening anymore. And Beyond Good and Evil 2, they brought him back. They've been showing off concept art. They've been doing all this stuff. And it's what is taking so long? Like, what is Michel Ancel doing besides this game? Like, I don't know. I'm just at a loss for words. Like, this game could be a PS6 and whatever the next Xbox is at this point.
Yeah, I know Murdoch put in a pretty good thing here. Like, Ubisoft has had a lot of issues, guys. With unethical things and workplace issues, and you know, you're dealing with people that are trying to work, that are dealing with crunch, that are dealing with, you know, people that are above them that are treating them poorly, or HR that doesn't handle situations until, you know, it's a huge mess or whatever. So, you know, it creates some pretty bad workplace issues. And then, you know, we also have pandemics and all of that, but that doesn't excuse games that have been in development like since 2003. They should have never said anything about Beyond Good and Evil. They should have just let it disappear into the ethos until they were ready. Yeah, like Skull and Bones, same thing. Like, should have never said anything until it was ready. You know, I think about Fallout 4. That's the best way to do it. It's like, hey, you know, we're announcing it. It's going to come out in November.
Yep.
You know,
and like with the most recent one, Guardians of the Galaxy, they announced it in June. Hey, it's out October 26th.
You know, so there are a lot of issues going on, and I hope that it gets better. I hope that the right people get put into positions that can make the process better, that there's more healthy ways to do it. But at the moment, that Ubisoft's got some skeletons to clean out and some demons to get rid of out of their closet.
Some skeletons and bones.
Yeah.
Some skull and bones.
Oh. Now, speaking of another big third party, the EA Play happened today. One of the parts of EA Play. And we got some EA Play news.
The main part.
Yes, the main part. Starting off with some EA Play news, Knockout City Season 2 is themed Fight at the Movies and launches on July 27th. I'm excited for this.
Full disclosure, I haven't watched any of these trailers we have in for the EA Play stuff, so it'll be the first time I'm seeing any of this, so I'm excited to see what, especially Knockout City brings.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Knockout City.
In a world of chaos, where mayhem rules the streets, is anyone strong enough to stop the unstoppable? A world where one hero rises to meet instant.
We're getting new maps.
Regret.
Yep. Hallelujah.
A world where lovers chase their passions and feel the burn. A world where terror lurks high above.
Indiana Jones.
Where
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, an evolving map.
Oh, a new ball.
Yeah.
In a child's bedroom? Bring your moves to the movies. Coming July 20. Oh man, that voice is Murder on the Pipes. The Hollywood Drive-In opens July 27th.
Soda Ball.
At the movies, it's showtime.
All right.
Yeah.
I like
love
that.
the new map.
Yeah. Like, we get a map they can change.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
It definitely keeps you on your toes for certain gameplay styles.
Yeah, and a new ball, the soda ball. I'm curious to see what it does. It looks like we've getting a lot of new outfits and everything. Indiana Jones dresses VR. Yeah, I think we're getting a lot more customization and everything in this one. So, what are your thoughts, Derek?
I like it. I like, what I keep saying that we both were surprised by how well Knockout City did, because when it was first unveiled, we're like, this ain't it, Chief. And then we played it, I'm like, no, wait, this is it, Chief. So I'm glad they're bringing in a fresh new thing for not even Knockout City, but just to like a games as a service model genre. Obviously it's a different thing, but not a lot of when we introduce new maps, they don't really change that much. They pretty much stay the same except for like limited time events. So the fact that it's like an ever evolving stage, new ball, new customization. So I'm curious to see how season 3 and season 4, like I know we talked about it a while back about how their roadmap looks and how they have like the seasons will change fast. Like I know season 3 I think starts in around October, maybe September-ish. So I know they're going to have fast turnaround. So it's going to be exciting to see, and how it's also going to be curious to see how they keep that content going and how fresh they make it to keep players engaged.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing because, some games have too long of seasons. Like I think Fall Guys, like when it was at its height, it was the same for too long, and that's how Among Us was able to come in and just sweep in. And now like they're just about to do their their 5th season. I can't remember.
Yeah.
For
Fallout, for Knockout, Fall Guys. They're on season 5 now.
Yeah, so like some games do it a lot faster. Apex is like a lot faster. It is also an EA thing.
Yep.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to play more.
Yep.
I know we've been digging it and loving it, so I can't wait to see.
And it's right around the corner.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday.
Tuesday. Hey, guess what, guys? We're playing Knockout City next Tuesday on stream. Boom. There you go. Moving to the next thing. EA original game Lost in Random releases September 10th for PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, the Switch, and PC. Let's take a look at this Lost in Random trailer. As my computer freezes for a second. Doop, there we go. Okay. Here's the Lost in Random trailer.
Once upon a time, there were 2 devoted sisters named Even and Ord. Cruelly separated by an evil queen.
An owl?
The roll of a dice.
I'm coming!
Speeda.
This little fella, Even was determined to rescue her beloved sister.
Come on, Dicey!
In this strange and fascinating world of random, adventure and combat go hand in hand. And many peculiar
Kind of
characters.
reminds me of a Tim Burton movie.
You mean this one? And some won't.
That's against the rules. Oh, sure. A little girl with a dice.
Those coins can be traded for cards.
Cards, cards. I got cards here, the greatest cards in the land.
Cards contain new attacks, abilities, and more. All of which come in handy during dice battle.
Ready, Dicey?
Even uses her slingshot to attack deadly foes. This can knock off energy cubes used to feed her strange companion Dicey. And once fully charged, Even can roll Dicey and freeze time itself. Let's see how she uses it.
Oh, so like whatever you roll is like the cards that you open up to use. Interesting.
Well done, Even. Nice. Ooh, that was a good one. Even's quest will take her across all 6 realms of random. Even must roll the dice and play the odds. But just a chance at saving her sister.
Random rules. Long may she reign.
Dicey, wait!
My child, you're safe now.
Interesting.
Well, it is an EA original. We talked about that last week.
Yep.
Yep. It looks like a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like a Tim Burton movie, like the darkness and everything. The fighting system, really interesting.
Is intuitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I like that. Like, whatever.
I do too.
Whatever you roll like that, like if you roll a 4, you get 4, and anything below that, like the cards that you bought and everything.
Yeah.
And that you have to get like enough energy for you to be able to roll the dice to be able to do that. Very interesting.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm intrigued by it. You know, it's by the same studio who did Faye, which was that it was where that it was like animals and you had to use sound to get around and use sound to like communicate like for attacks and whatnot. So it's interesting. They it seems like that studio is going to be known for doing some interesting gameplay mechanics for their game.
Yep.
So I'm excited. You know, September 10th. So I don't know if I'll play it day one, but you know, if it pops up, you know, like Knockout City that we weren't expecting, if it ends up being really great, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I know I like quirky games at times, so like that just moved up on the list. They got put on the list.
Yep.
Moving on for some more EA Play news, Apex Legends Emergence has been revealed alongside new Legends Seer and Ranked Arenas, releasing August 3rd. And we've got a video of this, so we're going to check that out with y'all. So here we go.
Change. I see it in everything. I see it in a boy rocked by tragedy. Transform his pain and defy reality. I see it in the warrior who must choose between their new life and the annihilation of their home. I see it in a girl tortured by revenge, embrace hope when love awakens her heart. I see it in me. A boy born under a bad omen, turn his tale into a legend. Change is relentless. But that does not mean it cannot be beautiful.
All right, Kung Lao.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Cue JoJo pose.
Cue JoJo poses.
Nothing lasts forever. You must adapt. Surrender. And embrace your true nature. Know that you are not alone. Change comes for us all. Chaos has purpose. All of us thrown together. So the flame can burn its brightest. Change. Fight it and fall. Accept it and rise above.
I'm not an Apex guy, so can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Cool.
you. Looks interesting. Murdoch's like, I like the gunslinger aspect. Better story than the Ubisoft can put together. For me, like, I'm just not interested in Apex. Like, I'm curious to see like how the character's abilities will actually affect like a fight. Because like they have ultimates and everything. So I'm curious to see like every time there's a new character brought in, there is some like OP-ness to them majority of the time.
Right.
So like when it does come out, like you probably will, like if you can play as that character, that's the time you want to play as them because their powers are going to be the most powerful. But I don't know. I'm glad that they're continuing to do more with Apex. Like I know a lot of people really enjoy it and everything. I'm just, not for me. What do you think, Derek?
Yeah, I mean, it's not for me either. Like, it's the only battle royale I want to check out because it has like an Overwatch feel to it. And they continue to do new game modes as well. Like, I know they're going to do like 3v3 arenas and whatnot. So it'll be interesting. Like, it's free to play. I just don't know if I'll ever commit to it. That's just my thing. But I do like how they're treating this like they're giving more flair and pizzazz to it, like what Overwatch does for their character reveals or when they do a new character. Like, it definitely has that same vibe. Yeah, which I love me some Overwatch. I like that way better. Murdoch said, build a game around him and then we can talk. Like he does, they do sound really cool and interesting. It's just not the kind of game that I want to play. So, yeah. But hey, it might be the game that you want to play. Yeah. Moving on. Different strokes for different blokes. Yep. Grid Legends revealed by Codemasters mixes live action performances with in-game races. Sounds like Need for Speed. Yeah. Sounds like Need for Speed. Was it Payback? That was very like Fast and Furious-esque storyline. Yep. All right, let's check out this trailer, guys. This is Grid Legends.
Let's turn over, please. 160, take 13, coming.
And it's noted this is the first game that they're revealing since EA bought them.
10 teams, dozens of drivers, only one can become champion.
My name is Yume Tanaka. My goal is to become the first woman ever to win the championship.
They know who I am. I'm Nathan McCain, 5-time Grid Series world champion. Soon to be 6 times. And that's a new record.
If it's grid legal, I can build it to win. Touring cars, muscle cars, open wheel, drift.
Best team, best car.
Win by having the money, by having the guts.
If these idiots can't keep their cars on the track, it's their problem.
But you keep pulling up there, that stops, but you're gonna get somebody hurt. Hopefully,
it'll be you.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Here's the drama.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I enjoy racing games. It's hard for me to like commit completely to a racing game though, but I do enjoy racing games. The live action, cutscene kind of thing, I think actually might work well. The ones that we've gotten from like the Need for Speed like franchise has been pretty corny. Yeah. These seem like it's more of like Quantum Break kind of cutscenes, like live action and everything, more acted instead of like you got somebody that is like trying to break in, just sitting there, just reading like right from the script. Yeah. So this definitely feels more like it is going to be something interesting, an actual story. So what are your thoughts, Derek?
Yeah, it definitely feels like they're pouring more money into it now. Whether this is coming next year, so whether this was already what they had in mind, or whether when EA bought them, this is their money being pumped into that to be able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know, but it looks like they're making the most out of this. I know Grid has always been, I don't want to say a well-respected, but it's been a respected racing franchise. It's never been up there in the tops like with Need for Speed or Gran Turismo or Forza. It's never been one of those top contenders, but maybe this is the game that gets them over the hump.
Yeah.
And I think it's a nice thing to, while, everyone was expecting a new Need for Speed because it seems like every other year there's a new Need for Speed announced. Maybe by buying Codemasters, this gives the people like Criterion and Ghost Games more time to work on Need for Speed to make it what EA wants it to be, to get it to more a respectable franchise that it used to be. And they acquired Codemasters. Like, look, we're gonna take pressure off you guys to make the racing game you want and to make it profitable for us by having this other studio put out racing games for us as well.
Yeah, and I'm down for this. I want to see more. I want to see where it goes. And I'm curious about like the team aspect of it. Like, do you have a mechanic, a racer? I'm curious to see like what's your team made up of? Like, do you get to choose like who you play? Like, do you get to be Ethan, whatever his name is, the going on 6 times, or is he a rival or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, so many times we get like these racing games, it's like, you're the new guy. It's like, how awesome would it be? It's like, hey, you're this veteran that's trying to hold on to like the fame and glory. Like you're older, like your skills are starting to degrade compared to the younger guys. Like that would be so much more interesting than, hey, you're the new guy. Hey, like,
right.
So tired of that story.
You don't know anything.
So tired of that story. But yeah, like playing the grizzled veteran that's trying to make history by winning 6 times in a row would be way more interesting.
Right.
Way more interesting. Speaking of something that could be interesting, Battlefield 2042's Portal mode mashes together every battlefield into one.
Yeah, this is random because, there's been rumors that we've reported on about, a Battlefield hub that could showcase different battlefields, and it seems like this is what they're unveiling. So let's take a look at this one. Oh, all right. Okay, all the vehicles. Because there can't be Battlefield without vehicles, trust me.
No.
Especially for them big maps.
Gotta step it up, boys.
Just everybody spawning in.
Right. Oh, I think that was a reference to Bad Company.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Whoa.
Okay.
That's the sound of the going bang bang.
The medics.
Murdoch's like, I'm gonna be that World War I medic class. Wow.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. I have to say,
Hold
I'm
on.
really impressed by that.
Okay, there's more destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Murdoch's already like, yes, let's go.
Brandon's
and the
like,
tower drop is back.
Brandon's can't wait for this game. Dan, holy cow, taking on a jet with a P-51 Mustang. Hey, ain't gonna happen. Where do I sign?
Murdoch's like, where do I sign? I have to say, you know, when we watched the first unveiling of Battlefield 2042, I'm like, okay, more Battlefield, like with weather effects and like all this, like, cool. Didn't really speak to me. Seeing all this, I might actually get it now.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. Like
I want to see where the limit is, because I'm sure it's one of those, like, you start off with a set, because you can't start off with everything at your disposal. Like, as you level up, you'll unlock more features or more stuff to use in that hub.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they do with it. Like, will it be okay? You have to use the Germans and this, or you know, like,
yeah,
how they're going to like divide it and everything, because like,
yeah,
and it's also going to have to be balanced. Like,
yeah,
I'm wondering how they're going to do the balancing of, okay, you've got a jet, all right, and it's taking on a prop plane, you know, or you've got these robots that are taking on, you know, like a regular guy, you know, squad of guys. Like, how are they going to do that and make it where it is still fun to play?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, but hey,
so
that looks really cool. Because they're not doing an actual story, right? They're just doing this.
I mean, it might be one of those like told through missions type of thing, but yeah, they're not doing a traditional campaign.
Yeah, so like, I know Warzone has kind of done something like this with bringing in Cold War, but this is on a whole nother level. And
100%
looks way cooler than what Warzone's been doing, bringing in Cold War and everything. So, hey, maybe, you know, Battlefield might actually finally give Call of Duty the real run for its money instead of just trying to catch up with it. So, y'all let us know what y'all think down in the comments below.
We already know Murdoch and Brandon.
Yeah. Moving on to our last bit of Dead Space news, of EA Play news. Dead Space Remake has been announced for PlayStation 5, Series X and S, and the PC. So let's take a look at the video that was shown at EA Play today.
I'm excited for this. Dead Space 1 is my favorite one of the trilogy.
Remember, hide your kids, hide your wives.
Yeah, definitely not family friendly. Oh, those lovely necromorph sounds. Whole lot of nope.
Ha! Cut off their limbs.
Not much there, obviously.
Yeah.
But they don't give a date. They're just you know, there's been rumors circulating. I know we reported on this for the last several weeks to a month. So it's fine. It's nice to see they're finally acknowledging it, but no date. And you know, being next gen only, it's like, I think Avatar, the Avatar game Ubisoft's doing, is the only other game that we know of that off the top of my head that's only going to be on PS5 and Series X and S. So It's intriguing, and there's been reports saying that they had to wait for the new gen technology before they did the remake, and that's interesting to see.
Yeah.
Because I know they said they want to make it in the vein of the Resident Evil remakes, like 2 and 3. So they're gonna, as long as they give it the love and attention it deserves. Because like I said, the first one, the atmosphere is great.
Yeah.
Like it sets the tone and the precedence. Like 2 is great too, but 1 just is like it lets you know it's like, hey, we're here to make you poop your pants.
Derek, are you saying that Dead Space 3 was bad?
I mean, I'm not saying it's bad, but I mean, if you hated RE6, you're gonna hate Dead Space 3.
What was that like Frozen Planet game? They made like 2
Lost
Planet. That game was really good back in the day.
Yeah, I agree. Don't know why they never did a third game in the series, but hey,
it was really good. I enjoyed it.
That's a Capcom question, I guess.
Yeah, maybe since they have been having this renaissance, maybe we'll get a Lost Planet.
Maybe.
But yeah, it is interesting that it is only coming to PS5 or the next gen, current gen, whatever you want to call it. I'm looking at you, TikTok.
Careful, just don't say it. Yeah, I'm about to say on TikTok.
On
right.
TikTok, they go crazy. But yeah, I feel like it's going to be a little bit further out than what we're thinking for it just to be on the
because
new
my
gen.
boss was texting me when it was confirmed, and he's like, I'm hoping it's next year. I'm like, look, it's going to be EA with their current trend. It's going to be like 2023 at the earliest. Let's be honest, because they're not even committing a date to it. Like even just saying 2022, like they did with Grid Legends, it's probably going to be maybe late 2022, but I'm guessing 2023.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a while. And that's fine. Make it good. Make it good.
Yep. Take your time.
Moving into our last chunk, which is and always will be the Legacy PlayStation News segment. We can skip this first one because it's not true. It's hogwash and hearsay.
Can you say I targeted you for this one?
Huh? Oh, sorry. Things got deleted. I can't see what it was.
Okay.
First up, Sony officially closes certification for new PS Vita games.
The Vita's dead.
The Vita lives. Vita means life.
Despite the PS Vita and PS3 digital storefronts remaining open, today marks what is potentially the true death of the PS Vita, since developers will no longer be able to submit their games to Sony for certification and release on the PS Vita after today. After Sony first announced its closing stores, the stores closing on July 20th, was named the final day to submit games for certification, something that fans were hoping would change once the decision was reversed, though that is not the case. Multiple developers working with the Vita were made aware of this and have subsequently canceled their planned future Vita releases. Since then, since they would not have been able to make the deadline. So, yep, nail in the coffin. So I was hoping it kind of would, since they kept the stores running open for a little longer, I was kind of hoping they would keep certification open as well. But it's like Sony's making that decision. Is like, we gave you what you wanted, but that doesn't mean we're gonna keep it running forever and ever. We're gonna force you to accept the closure one way or another.
Moving on. Jim Ryan argues players only remember the best game. God of War sequel coming in a year or so.
Yeah, so Sony has had Jim Ryan at the helm of Sony Interactive Entertainment since April of 19, and in that time he's led PlayStation through the end of the PS4 era and into the PS5. And though his methods have been constantly questioned, especially by both of us, he's made it clear what he feels when it comes to the quality of games he expects from PlayStation Studios and how much he cares about them taking the time they need in this interview. This and more all came from an interview with TMT Post, which also dug into what Ryan believes to be the core of PlayStation's success. Whether or not Ryan has ever had any creative input into a game's development, his gaming habits, and the news that the God of War sequel is coming, quote, in a year or so. When answering a question regarding how long it takes for games to be developed and how Ryan deals with waiting, he said, quote, "It is better to wait and have a great game than to rush and have a game that is okay or quite good. Players only remember the best games rather than okay games. We don't want products that are okay. We want the best. Ryan does also admit that there is a schedule and financial portfolio to consider, so they will put pressure on studios to get things done by a certain date. But his words above those seem to suggest that Ryan really does understand when a studio asks for more time, something that was clear with The Last of Us Part 2, since Naughty Dog delayed the release multiple times. As far as the God of War sequel is concerned, Ryan's comments are hopefully an indication that the delay into 2022 will be the only delay we see from Sony Santa Monica.
Sorry, I had to get my Vita out.
Show that it's not dead.
It's not dead. The battery's dead, but it's not dead, guys. and just to show y'all, I got my Vita and I got my PSP. I got my Star Wars PSP.
That's really dead.
Yeah. Why? The Vita lives, guys. The Vita lives. Anyway.
Good luck, new Vita.
You know, sometimes, Derek, sometimes.
To the moon?
You know, like, I agree with him here. You know, like, we want good games. We don't want rushed hog mess.
Yep.
You know, like, we want something that is memorable. That's why when, you know, we got the new God of War, it had been a long time since Ascension. We saw what Ascension was, and that was definitely a far cry from what we wanted God of War to be. You know, especially that multiplayer mode.
Oh God, yes.
Remember that one time that we played the multiplayer mode. But yeah, like, I'm glad that, you know, it's not just like, hey, we got to pump stuff out, because we see that with third parties. We've seen that with you know, other people that have had issues, Capcom being one of them. You know, the more you try to pressure, the worse like return you're going to get. Your ROI is going to, you know, shrink because you are trying to force something to happen. So, you know, yeah, I remember only good games or really, really bad games. Like the mediocre ones, like, you just kind of forget about it. But, you know,
until someone brings it up, it's like, oh yeah, I had fun with that, and then move on. You know,
exactly. So you know, I'm glad. Make good games.
Yep. You know, you side tangent here. You bring up the multiplayer. The one time we played it, apparently the multiplayer was so bad it gave my PS3 the yellow light of death.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was rest in peace, because that was the back compat PS3 too.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm just looking at my OLED.
Speaking of dead things, the Vita.
Sony is reportedly closely monitoring Switch OLED as industry prices could be on the rise.
Yeah, this one was interesting. According to a report, the Japan Times Sony Interactive Entertainment is keeping a close eye on the situation with the Nintendo Switch OLED, which may have signaled a change in the industry with increasing prices. The Big N's latest iteration of its popular hybrid console, which follows on from the launch version and the Nintendo Switch Lite, includes an OLED screen but otherwise has the same hardware as the base model. It also happens to retail for $50 more than the regular Switch, despite not offering the major upgrade many had hoped for. Furthermore, analysts believe that production costs have only bumped by $10 with the Nintendo Switch OLED. The publication claims that the PlayStation manufacturer is quote, closely monitoring Nintendo's latest Switch model with Hideki Yasuda, an analyst with Ace Research Institute, suggesting the system, quote, could set a precedent for charging more across the industry. So I'm looking at this as like, all right, maybe we don't have to maybe if we, depending on how well, I'm guessing they're also going to see how well it sells.
Yeah.
When it launches too, because they could look at it this one of two ways. They can be like, okay, maybe we can, I like how you're keeping the Vita on screen, by the way. It's like, you're trying to send a message to Jim Ryan. But they could look at this one of two ways. They could be like, okay, well, maybe we can do a little bit of increment and like, charge way more overhead. Maybe we could charge more for a few features. Or they could look at this and be like, okay, maybe we don't have to spend an arm and a leg and just do small incremental updates instead of like having to do like a large jump to like 8K or whatever else you want to do down the road. So I think they're going to monitor this, or maybe, like they said, as industry prices may be on the rise, maybe they could look at this and say, look, maybe since PS5s are in such high demand, maybe we should raise the base price beyond 500, maybe to 550. I don't agree with it, but I don't know. Who knows what's going on in Sony's head nowadays?
Yeah. I'm curious to see what it comes from this. I know I say I'm curious a lot on this show.
Yeah.
But it could mean a lot of different things for it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they will raise the price on it because one, them getting in stores is hard enough. Like I don't think they raise price on it. I don't know.
It's a wait and see.
Yeah, it's a wait and see. Before we move into the next one, because it's important. This had a back touchpad. You know that? Like,
yeah, I knew that.
And it's really dope because it has like the sacred symbols like all the way through the back of the touchpad. It's not just like and it's just like it just fits in the hand really well. It's little baby buttons, but it did have a camera on the front and a camera on the back.
Yep.
And this is one of the cellular models. It has like a AT&T like SIM card in here, so you could like download on the go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a great piece of tech. Too bad Sony didn't believe in it.
Yeah, and then charged out the wazoo for SD cards. My Lord.
Oh my gosh. Like, it's like, oh, what is this $50 memory card? It's got to be a lot of memory, right? Just 16 gigs. What?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I know I have my SD card somewhere. I took it out the other day. So it's basically a cell phone. It's not a cell phone. It's way better than a cell phone. Freedom Fighters, Persona 4 Golden.
Maybe if they did market it as a cell phone, maybe it'd still be alive and kicking.
They did have a PSP cell phone.
I forgot that.
Yep. Taco Baster. Oh my God. Anyway, moving on. Data miner discovers images linking Sony and Netflix inside the Netflix app, possibly indicating PlayStation games coming to the Netflix gaming.
Netflix recently revealed to the world that they're planning to extend their reach beyond movies and TV into video games. And just days later, a data miner seems to have found images within the Netflix iOS app code that point to a partnership between Sony and Netflix to allow for PlayStation games to come to the Netflix gaming service. The images are that of two DualSense controllers and artwork of Ghost of Tsushima, a PlayStation exclusive title. VGC reports the data miner is a man named Steve Moser, who publicly tweeted out the images along with what he believes to be the working title for Netflix's gaming brand on the back end called Shark. And then, of course, they show images. So you can see the tweet. They talk about Sony and Netflix are already well acquainted when it comes to things in the film and TV side. So it would make sense that they could easily transition into working together in the new gaming venture for Netflix. What's your take on this? Like, I mean, obviously we can both speculate if it's true or not, but like, let's just say for sake of argument, it is true. Like, what does this do for you? Like, does this concern you? Does this like encourage you, or are you just kind of like indifferent?
For me, like, it'll be interesting what they do with it.
Yeah.
I'm not like, it's not that big of a deal to me. I don't even have Netflix, so I don't really care. But for it to be able to reach more people, I think both PlayStation and Xbox are trying to reach more people. Xbox being kind of like the pioneers in that kind of mindset, and PlayStation playing catch up. So they're trying to get in bed with, even though Netflix has like lost like 400,000 subscribers, they're still very large. And I think, you could see PlayStation and Xbox living on the same service.
Yep.
Unless PlayStation does some finagling where only they get to be on this new Netflix service and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting. A lot of people have Netflix. So I think it's just the way of the future.
Yep, and I'll say, like you said, Microsoft was first to the party with this one, where they put their exclusives day one on PC and console, and especially on Game Pass now. So I know we've started to see a slow trickle, hopefully a faster turnaround with them buying Nixus now for PC ports of their exclusives, and great games in the hands of more people is always a good thing, because it's more money for the studios that deserve it, and it's more people that can talk about the games with and experience these great narratives that Sony has made. So I'm for it. I know the hardcore people will be like, no, I don't want more. I don't want to water down what PlayStation exclusive means. It's not going to water it down. It's only going to strengthen the brand. It's just going to become PlayStation. We don't care if it's exclusive anymore. I'm just going to throw that out there. Yes, as long as Sony is making it. It's getting to a point now, it's not so much where it is played, it is who is making it.
Yeah.
Like, you could put Ghost of Tsushima on the Switch, and as long as it's Sucker Punch, I know that's a bad example, but as long as you could put whatever next title that Naughty Dog or Sucker Punch is doing on any console, as long as they're doing it, I'll play it wherever.
Yeah, I think it will be very good. It is, the future is here. Like, exclusives are going to become less and less of a thing, and it's going to be like, who made it? It'll be more of that than you have to have the Xbox or whatever.
It's going to come down to more to reputation.
Yeah, definitely. One quick thing about the PSP.
I like these little interlude segments. It's like WandaVision.
The buttons are so much larger on the PSP. It's white, so it's a little bit harder to see. Like perfect size compared. Like Owl Dog on the Vita here, they got them baby buttons like the Switch does. Like that is a button on the Vita, and like look at how big that is compared to on the PSP. Like little baby button, and then like a regular size like adult button. But yeah, it's the form factor is a lot worse on the PSP. I will say that,
Okay.
So yeah.
This has been Fun Notes with Zach.
Rumor has it there is a new report confirms Jade Raymond studio Haven is making a new game as a service PS5 exclusive. That was a mouthful.
Yeah. The news that Jade Raymond had returned to the industry with her own studio under Sony, and that they were working on a new original IP, turned quite a few heads, and a new report appears to have confirmed that what has already been rumored, Haven Studios' new IP could be a multiplayer games-as-a-service title exclusive to PS5. The report comes from Italian publication multiplayer.it, where, according to an anonymous source, a recruiting message has revealed that Haven is looking for developers to, quote, help develop an original intellectual property, a Sony exclusive games as a service. While a new online-only games-as-a-service type game might not have been what people were hoping for, it does seem like that is what we're getting, especially since it now marks the second time a job listing or search on Haven's studio's part has leaked what they could be working on. There's nothing else to really go on, unfortunately, though, so we'll just have to wait and see. Since Haven is still a very new studio, it's likely we won't see anything until about what they're working on for some time. So I like the rumor mill. I mean, it kind of coincides with everything that Sony is wanting to do, right? They're wanting to put a multiplayer focus on their exclusives. They're wanting to do multiplayer exclusives, and a games as a service would fit in there, a la, like Fortnite, a la Apex Legends, which is like just constantly evolving, constantly getting a revenue stream in. So it's going to be interesting to see what the studio has to offer. I want to know how far down the road before we find out what it even is.
Them being pretty early on, I think it's going to be a while before,
like 2025 at the very earliest.
Yeah, and even though they're saying like games as a service, like that model is shifting and changing, especially with
Yeah.
like Infinite coming out and Infinity fixing to come out. Like the games as a service model is shifting and changing. Look at
And who knows what it'll look like by that time,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. Like Overwatch is not necessarily like it is a games as service essentially.
Yeah.
But it has changed slightly over time. So we don't know what it's going to look like in 2024 when this game potentially could release and everything.
Yeah.
But I get on it, Jade. Let's do it. Let's see what you got.
Right.
Let's see what you got. Also, a little quick aside here. I forgot like the PSP, this one, PSP had a memory card as well, but it was proprietary as well.
Yeah. Wonder how expensive those were.
I don't know, but this is a gig. Literally a gig.
Yeah.
And like it's weird. Like so this is like
that was probably at least $40.
Probably. This is a Memory Stick Pro Duo by SanDisk, and this is like a normal SD, like a SD card. Like
yeah.
So weird. So yeah. Guys, I've been streaming for like almost 5 hours now, so this is what you're getting.
You're just trying to keep staying at this point.
Moving on to the thing that I wanted to talk about. We could have literally just done this and that be it. We literally could have just talked about this and the Vita and the PSP. Those are important things that you needed to know. Why you gotta die on me? Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut Iki Island trailer video has been released, which we're about to look at, and Jin can also interact with more animals. I don't know what that means.
Well, you know how you could interact with the fox.
I know, but like, am I going to like need to pet a bear? Because that bear, when I
have the answers for you.
Okay.
So the news comes from the official Twitter account for Ghost of Tsushima, where the developer posted a video of Jin interacting with the 3 aforementioned animals. You can watch the short snippets of these moments for yourself. Of course, I couldn't find an appropriate thing to upload them to the doc, but you can. Let's see. Jin already had a special bond with birds and foxes, though now developer Sucker Punch has revealed that his bond with nature will grow further, as Jin will be able to visit different animals in their various sanctuaries, such as cats, deer, and monkeys. Sucker Punch did not specify as to whether or not visiting these sanctuaries will become part of the trophy list for the expansion, though, considering the main game's trophy list, discovering all these sanctuaries is likely to be a trophy, like do all the fox shrines, so that's interesting.
Monkeys.
Yeah.
Cats.
And deer.
Deer.
Oh my.
Them shrieking deer. You go by them. Like, what? Who is dying? No, it's a deer. It's a deer.
Right.
All right, guys, we're gonna watch this trailer. That's Derek. We're gonna watch this trailer. It is rated M. There is
watch with caution.
Watch with caution. Hopefully, there's not any man butt in this trailer. That's the only thing that I don't like about Ghosts. It's like every now and then it's like man butt. It's like what? All right, here we go.
I haven't seen these Mongols before. They claim to follow someone called the Eagle.
Kaka!
Kaka. So beautiful.
Are they going to kill my horse again?
I'll say not again.
Your journey was hard.
It's a lady.
Drink. Let me guide you through the horror. Purge the guilt from your spirit. Make you whole again.
Those people lost their minds. If the Eagle can do that to the whole island.
What's a samurai doing on Iki Island?
The Eagle sent a scouting party to Tsushima. I knew I had to stop them.
That's cool. Give it to me now. Why isn't it August 20th yet?
Oh man. Murdoch, I'm gonna take this game and make it even more awesome. Exactly.
Right.
Okay, yeah. So I've already decided we're gonna do Ghost. I'm kidding. Man, that looks good. Like I'm glad they're giving us a little bit more story, like just kind of like making me like, ooh, what are we doing here? What are we going on? We got this lady called the Eagle, and she crazy. Like,
yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, like she seems more dangerous than the con that we've been dealing with in the main game, because she just seems insane. Like,
yeah,
the con is cunning. She sounds crazy.
It's the ones you can't predict that are like the ones you fear the most. It's like, how do I combat this?
Exactly. Just like the con with us.
Right.
Just like the con with us. Yeah, I'm excited.
Dan, George Takei voice. Lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my.
Oh my. All right, guys. Let us know. Are you excited for some more Ghost? I sure am. I live in
less than a month.
I live in a perpetual state of Ghost.
Because it takes you so long to beat it.
Hey, I'm just enjoying it, man. I didn't want to rush.
I know.
I didn't want to rush it. Just wanted to enjoy it.
You don't rush a good thing.
No, you don't.
You know, it's like a good martini. Shaken, not stirred.
Derek, are you ready? Is your body ready? Have you been getting on the speed bag this week? Just getting ready, loosened up for this?
Man, I got prepped like I was doing a marathon.
Are you ready?
I am.
All right, here we go. Here are the quick hits for this week.
So starting it off, Black Ops Cold War adds PS5 adaptive trigger support for PC. Tetris Effect Connected will hit PS4 and PC on August 18th and will have crossplay. Pokemon Unite is out now for the Switch. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart tops NPD charts for June. Whoop whoop. Along with the Midnight Black controller for PS5 being the best-selling accessory for the month of June. Also, PS5 hits 10 million units sold faster than any other PlayStation console. Tencent is purchasing Sumo Digital, the creators of the recent Sackboy: A Big Adventure, for $1.27 billion. Billion with a B. Warframe cross-save and crossplay announced for later this year. Rumor going around that Call of Duty 2022 single-player and co-op to be developed by Infinity Ward. Haven't even gotten an official confirmation of what this year's Call of Duty is, but we're already talking about next year's Call of Duty. Fall Guys Season 5 is out now and confirms the jungle theme that was rumored that we talked about last week. GTA Online will have exclusive vehicle features such as speed improvements on select vehicles only on PS5 and Series X and S. GTA Online Los Santos Tuners update is out now. Final Fantasy Pixel remasters could release for other platforms if there's enough demand. GDC will hold a physical conference in March 2022. Pro Evolution Soccer 2022, officially titled eFootball, releasing this fall and will be free to play. Fallout 76 to get an update to let players customize their own worlds and make private worlds. Netflix will add games to their platform at no additional cost with a focus on mobile experiences. Put an asterisk yet to the no additional cost. Project 007 to feature sandbox storytelling and cutting-edge AI framework. EA Sports PGA Tour will feature women's golf for the first time, at least on the tour part. And then new month, meaning new Switch Online games. The Switch Online games for July 2021 are all for the Super NES, or the SNES as people call it. You get Claymates, Jelly Boy, and Bomboozle.
Okay. The big one, Tencent purchasing Sumo Digital.
Yeah.
Like, that's big.
Tencent's been slowly acquiring, like they like how Vivendi slowly was buying up Ubisoft before they were able to hold them off. Like Tencent's just is like their version of Vivendi and just slowly buying up these random studios.
Yeah, which, you know, you look at the games that Sumo Digital has made. Sackboy, A Big Adventure, Crackdown 3, which it did not do well. Snake Pass, Little Big Planet 3, Team Sonic Racing.
Yep.
Hot Shots Racing, Sonic All-Star Racing. They did the few outruns. They've Virtua Tennis. I totally forgot about that series.
Yeah.
Man. That's crazy. Dead Island 2?
Yes. No, wait.
That's what it's...
The developers for those have jumped around, so maybe they're working on it now, but it's jumped from Square to like other people, so it's jumped around. So who knows who's working on Dead Island 2?
Okay.
We don't even know if that game still exists, let's be honest.
True. So, but Tencent, which has a big stake in like Fortnite and Epic, they got money. They're one of the biggest companies in the world. So, and no, they don't have Fortnite. They have what was that game that used to be PUBG? There you go.
Oh, okay.
They own PUBG. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They own all of that, not Fortnite. So yeah, that one was big.
Yep.
And then Project 007. I'm glad we're hearing a little bit more about that. But
yeah,
I'm curious to see where it goes. And PS5 hits 10 million. That's pretty awesome. But I would love to see those in the hands of real people, not scalpers.
Right. Also true.
You know,
I'm sure about half of those are in scalpers' hands. Probably more.
Yeah, probably more, which is sad. But there you go, guys. There is the news that you needed to know this week. Let us know down in the comments what your favorite news story was, what you're excited to get to play. I know which one I'm excited for. My PlayStation Vita. Gonna find my cord, charge it up, and play some Taco Master. Take that, Jim Ryan. Take that.
You being that extra level of petty tonight, I love it.
I am being that extra level. You mess with the Vita, you see what happens. You see what happens. I'm going to make me a Vita game now.
It won't go through circulation.
That's okay. Maybe I'll put it on my own Vita and I'll play it.
You'll make it for the Steam Deck and somehow be able to port it over to Vita.
Yeah. I'm going to like gut out the Steam Deck. I'm going to buy one and just put my Vita inside the Steam Deck. Yeah.
It's like a heart transplant.
Yeah. When I get my Tesla truck, I'm going to have the Vita in my Tesla truck. So there you go, guys. There's the episode this week. We hope that you enjoyed it. Let us know down in the comments below. And thank you. Thank you so much, Bezow, Doodoo, Zoppity Bop Bop Bop, for bringing the awesome news this week, putting it together.
Yeah, man. Had fun as always.
Guys, we'll see you next week when we bring you all the hot takes and the more Vita plugs that you can handle. This has been Zach.
And Bezow.
Y'all have a blessed week. Bye.